Hi, welcome to DBT Mindfulness, and we're going to go over a key skill of dialectical behavioral therapy. It will be a common golden thread through mindfulness, but also in some other DBT skills and techniques in the other courses if you continue on with the DBT series here on Udemy. And it is Wise Mind. There'll be a handout about it. If you're interested in more information, it's probably the most talked about DBT skill for good reason. And the idea of Wise Mind is sort of a Venn diagram. It's two circles. You'll see it in the attachment. And it is the idea that there are two sort of parts of your brain. This isn't necessarily biologically true, but does make sense to some degree. One is an analytical mind. So I usually say this is sort of math. This is doing taxes. This is fixing cars. This is figuring out how your computer works. And then there's the emotional part of your mind. So as a therapist, I often live in emotional mind. A lot of my clients live primarily in emotional mind as well. So it's feelings, it's past events that bring about feelings, it's friendship, interaction with others, social events. All that is kind of over here. So there's analytical, there's feeling oriented, and the idea is that for the most part, most of the time, it's not really healthy, it's not effective to live in one or the other. So an example is if you are crying all the time and having ongoing panic attacks and intruding thoughts of things that have happened in your life, you are living in the emotional mind, you're probably not very effective in your life. There are times in your life that you're going to be like that, and I use grieving as a good idea. If you are currently grieving, that is the effective place for you to be in right now. That is normal, that is healthy. But if this is an ongoing issue and you're unable to go to work, you're unable to figure out how your computer has 18 viruses right now because you can't sit and focus on it. If you are struggling with reading a recipe because you're seeing cups and ounces and throwing it out the window, not effective. There's going to be times in your life that being analytical, doing math is going to be beneficial. And in America, we file our taxes with the government once a year. It's about that time right now. For a lot of people, that involves sitting down, looking at spreadsheets and numbers and figuring out math and answering a lot of questions. And it's very stressful for a lot of people for various reasons. There are times where being analytical and being in that place is where you need to be 100%, and that would be doing taxes. And the example I always use is if you are analytical, you need to be analytical, you're doing your taxes, and you're hysterical crying, you're not really going to do your taxes very well. You might make mistakes. It might take you 8 hours instead of 2 hours. You might mess up something big. You might just be soaking wet, covered in your own tears, trying to get through it at 2 o'clock in the morning. Not a good time to do your taxes. So Wise Mind is the idea that in between these two circles, right in the middle, is sort of the ideal place to live most of your life. There's going to be times that doing taxes or grieving, you're going to be living in one or the other. That is perfectly fine. But years later, through other things, if you're living most of your life in one or the other, and I feel like most people are more likely to be more emotional. There might be people that are very analytical, data-driven, sort of maybe they're either numb to feelings or maybe they haven't been able to or aren't good at expressing. There are people like that there too, but in my work, most people are sort of living in the emotional mind, and it's just not effective. You're not really getting your needs met if you're crying or screaming or distancing yourself or throwing things away. You're not going to do your taxes. You're not going to be able to go to work regularly. So Wise Mind is that midpoint between these 2 points. And to get to Wise Mind could sometimes involve a breathing technique. But for a lot of people, it's just recognizing where they're at. So I'm having a panic attack right now. I'm thinking about these thoughts or memories. I'm not feeling. I'm numb. I'm like someplace else. And I really need to get dressed and go to work because I'm looking and it's now 8:15. I was supposed to leave for the bus 10 minutes ago. And it's kind of moving yourself more towards the other side. So if you're emotional and you're having a panic attack, it's 8:15. You're supposed to be at work 15 minutes ago and you still haven't gotten dressed yet. It's time to move to analytical, and I'll talk about how to do that in a second. And if you're in the analytical and you're also realizing you're too busy planning your life and you have 45 alarms on your phone and you're so, not spontaneous and you're not feeling, and suddenly you're in a relationship or suddenly there's a reason that you need to be emotional, it's important to sort of go to that side as well. So the idea is to go from one, realizing this isn't effective, and kind of end up in the middle. Go from one, this isn't working, and end up being on the middle. For some people, recognizing it's not effective is difficult. If you've lived a lot of your life, especially recent times in emotional, it's difficult to recognize this isn't working. To sort of accept that crying a lot or just being hypervigilant or having chronic nightmares is not effective. Maybe you haven't worked in a while, or you're, not, or your job sort of allows that behavior, or you're just cutting off. Also not helpful if you're like, I just push it down. I push down all my feelings, then I go to work. I guarantee you that's not a very helpful thing for the long term. That might keep you employed and that might be an effective skill for now, but DBT is about developing skills for sort of long-term recovery. So if you're feeling here, how can you get to analytical? You might be thinking, I'm here all the time, 99% of the time, 80% of the time, and I'm not here. How do I get to that wise mind sort of sweet spot? So here's some sort of techniques. They might seem silly. Also, if you're not oriented to analytical, they might seem a little weird. Promise that this will sort of move you more towards the middle. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to be completely in that sort of Zen sweet spot, but even just less emotional for a lot of people is really helpful. So if you're in the middle of a panic attack and you want to sort of get towards getting dressed to go to work, I'm going to call my boss and I'm going to go in 2 hours late today, but I still need to get it together in 2 hours. That is a great skill. That's extremely effective. It's good communication. Kudos on doing something like that. But for some people, that's not really an option. So we'll start from feeling oriented to analytical. What does that stream look like to get in that sweet spot? Might seem silly, but doing math is really effective for a lot of people. So don't worry about your math skills. Mine, honestly, are not very good myself. So this isn't about solving giant algebra problems or that kind of thing. Counting backwards from 100 by like 3 could be helpful. Trying to not judge like, 97. Counting on my fingers, I'm terrible at math. I'm at 88. That doesn't even make sense. Try not to focus on being right, but counting back from 100 by an even number is harder than an odd number. But if that is too challenging, or you find that you're going to judge your math skills, feel free to be like, I'm going to count back from 100 by 2. 98, 96, 94. And it sounds silly, but that will sort of drive you here. If you get stuck and you are stuck at 70, that's fine. Don't worry about completing a task. The idea is just to start moving your brain, inching. Even if you get here, from here, you're still more effective if you are being emotionally ineffective in the moment. The other things that I've heard, sometimes I've had people that have like bought cheap workbooks from like the dollar store, or have grabbed a workbook from a child that they knew or had, or went to like a thrift store and found like a first grade, second grade math book that, especially if you're not good at math, that might be, doing some subtraction, doing some multiplication, doing the multiplication tables in your head. I've heard from numerous people has been really effective for them. Working on something really dry, really dry. Maybe watching a documentary on nature or something will get you from the emotional mind to it. And for a lot of people, watching something also is sort of a good way to kind of bring the emotions down a little bit. So turning on Nova, watching some nature cast about African safari animals might be really interesting to you. Reading manuals is also often listed as something. So take out that manual for the microwave that you think, I know how to use a microwave, why would I need a manual for? And sort of read it. How useful is this microwave? Let me look at the numbers and the stats behind it. How many watts is this? It might sound really silly, but for a lot of people, just like grabbing the book and reading through it and saying like, what is in here? What are these numbers? Could be really beneficial for you. Watching something or doing something that's really dry doing a task, if you have to hang something behind you on a wall and you need a level, that actually might be a really good analytical skill. Having a level, 4 inches in on this side, 4 inches from the wall on that side, is it the right height? I'm lining it up with this one. For a lot of people, like a task like that would be really good. I've also heard people who move furniture. So like the thing that you've been putting on your list about maybe I should re-angle the couch, might look better in that corner. That could be a really interesting analytical skill, quick skill for some people. Rearranging things, like cleaning out a junk drawer or redoing where your forks and your knives go, for some people could be a really thing. So think about kind of math, think about analytics, think about how to move yourself over. It could be 5%. Once again, the goal is not to look for something really grandiose. Now I'm going to talk about moving yourself from data to feelings, which for a lot of people I think is more rare, usually people that end up taking DBT, but is also potential. Maybe you're in a relationship, or maybe you're dealing with a coworker or someone that also kind of lives in this data drive. So how to get someone from here to kind of more feeling oriented, if this is being ineffective in the moment, would be listening to a song that has some memories attached to it, listening to an emotional song, watching TV or a movie that could involve more emotions than data. So maybe the person that you're thinking of, or maybe it's yourself, is really into Star Trek, really data driven, really acts like data, kind of thinking about, maybe watching a different show, maybe something that doesn't need to be super dramatic or like a romantic comedy, maybe something that has a little more emotion attached to it, listening to some more maybe acoustic music or something that might have more feelings as opposed to maybe just noise or dance music or electronic dance music. Might be a good way to move somebody who's very data driven, very analytical, very concrete, into more feelings based. So put down that math textbook and sort of check out what's going on with a specific song or a genre, or watch a TV show. It doesn't need to be a very hyper emotional, dramatic TV show either, but just something to kind of move over. If you're finding that you're disconnected from people who are heavily feeling oriented, it might be time to sort of move your pendulum a little more towards theirs. Also, if you're in a relationship, it might be, and you are feeling oriented and they are data, information oriented, it might be good for both of you to sort of work on these skills to be able to kind of maybe, he or she thinks that you're analytical and they think that you are cold, and I feel like that could also be an interesting power struggle, and using Wise Mind, you can kind of work together to find a good center, or at least kind of say, hey, can you move towards me a little bit? I could use a little support right now. Hey, I know you need support, and I've given that last few hours to you, but I actually need some space and to work on this school engineering project. So this is also a good couple skill I've used with couples who sort of live on opposite ends, which could be really difficult for both people involved. So it is Wise Mind, it is a core skill, it's in other parts of DBT, there'll likely be multiple videos and lots of handouts that you can find, as well as what is in this course on Wise Mind. It is a core skill, it is sort of really important to know, and it is probably the top skill that I think comes up when I meet with people who've done DBT before. They'll tell me, I still use Wise Mind. It's very useful. Hope it's effective for you. Thank you.